Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world. Talk about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. So, we all know this. I'm not saying they're going to be good. I'm not saying they're going to be bad. What I'm saying is there's some serious question marks about the secondary, okay? And it's not just all the corners. Some of the safety depth as well. How are they going to be used? How are they going to be deployed? How are they going to do with this expanded role? Everyone has a lot of versatility in the secondary, especially the safeties. How are they going to handle all that responsibility? Enter Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers was just released by the New England Patriots just a couple days ago, and he's been kind of sitting there on the waiver wire wondering what's going to happen. A lot of teams are like yes, a lot of teams are like no. How can he fit this Las Vegas Raiders team? We're going to get to all that. But before we do, I want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's an excellent way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel besides doing nothing, just watching the video, and I do appreciate that. On top of that, we do have the Shield Society. It's really cheap. It's really easy. It's $5 a month. You get all the videos right away instead of having to wait for them to be released. You also get to do the watch parties with me. So you get to hear my analysis and my breakdowns of the plays and my thoughts. You can also be a part of the show. I'm going to put the link because it's members only like the jacket. I'm going to put the link on the chat so you can jump on and hop on and ask any questions you have. And yeah, be a part of the show. It's kind of interactive. It's kind of cool. If you're interested in doing it, it's only $5 a month. No contract. Cancel whenever you want. If you can do it, great. If you can't, that's great too. I'm still going to give you this free content. All right. So, Jabril Peppers. There's a lot of positives going with Jabril Peppers, okay? There's a lot of stuff that we can talk about that are reasons why this can work. Now, Jabril Peppers actually played for defensive coordinator Patrick Graham with New York in 2020, 2021. And he was already given that kind of hybrid role with the Giants at the time. Remember what I told you a long time ago? I said the secondary, the way that Patrick Graham and the way that Pete Carroll look at the secondary is very, very similar. They like to have a lot of versatility and they like to play a lot of three safety sets. As an example, for the 2 years that Jabril Peppers played under Patrick Graham, he had 120 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, a pick, 12 pass breakups, a forced fumble, 4.5 sacks. He only allowed 84.5 QBR against, which is actually pretty good. Now, here's the important part. His breakdown as far as snaps. 70% were at strong safety, 20% were at free safety, and 10% were at nickel. So he moved around quite a bit. Now, for a safety to play nickel, 10% of the time, it's actually a lot. It doesn't seem like it is, but it actually is. So we see the viewpoint of how Patrick Graham and how Pete Carroll want to use the safety is very similar. They're not going to worry about, oh, he's a corner, he's a safety. No. Who's the best guy to cover the nickel at the time? That's what they're going to use. So the flexibility really does help and makes sense for Jabril Peppers to be on the Raiders. Now, Lonnie Johnson was going to be that guy. He was the guy that was going to be the main guy on the slot and in the nickel and all that stuff. Unfortunately, he's hurt. Now, he could come back fairly quickly, maybe a little less than half into the season, but ultimately he's not here now. How can you make yourself better now? Oh, take a look at just the depth. Okay, right now we got rid of Thomas Harper and we brought in McCullough. Okay, that's a decent move, but Jabril Peppers is a better player than McCullough. He's a little bit older, but he's a lot more productive and he's a lot more dynamic of a player. One thing that we have to take a look at here is I like Chris Smith. I like him a lot. I like him as a player. And I like what he did in the preseason. But Jabril Peppers played much better in the regular season. You could potentially have Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Polamau, McCullough, and Peppers as your safeties. It's a pretty decent safety group. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. Also, there's a couple of fluff guys out there, like on the offensive line. There's a spot or two. And there's a spot or two like on the defensive line where there's a lot of players there that can be poached. You can even keep 5 safeties because one guy's floating back and forth. There's some guys at linebacker at the end that, could be played with a little bit. Remember when we talked about the 53-man roster? I said there's some fluff guys, there's some placeholders there, and that came to fruition with Thayer Mumford being released and Aidan O'Connell being placed on IR. Those were just placeholder guys until they found other guys that can, upgrade. There's some guys like that on the defense as well, mainly at linebacker and on the defensive line. So there is a way we can maybe not even get rid of Chris Smith and keep him on the roster, but also add a guy like Jabril Peppers. Let's not forget, okay, that Jabril Peppers got released by the New England Patriots, who just happened to be the team that we're playing in week 1. Now, the New England Patriots fired the first shot. They actually picked up Thayer Mumford and placed them on their practice squad. And they've been doing this forever. They pick up guys and they kind of have that last spot in the practice squad as guys that just flip in and out because they want to get a competitive advantage. What are they running? What are the Raiders running? You know that Thayer Mumford is singing like a freaking canary right now. All the stuff that he knows about the offense, maybe not the game plan specifically, but the offense itself, definitely what they're going to do. And yeah, we saw a very watered down version of this offense. It's going to be a little bit different, or maybe a lot of bit different going into week 1. So you know Thayer Mumford's talking. He's talking like a dude with the soda in front of him on the first 48. Like, this guy's singing. So having Jabril Peppers can really help see what the defense wants to do with the New England Patriots right now, and maybe give us a little bit of an advantage, like as far as that goes, going into week 1. Now, people think like, well, Jabril Peppers probably makes a lot of money, and you know what? He doesn't make a ton of money, but still, him going through waivers and being a free agent, yeah, it's not going to be that huge a deal. On top of that, the Raiders have like quite a bit of cap space, so I think they can definitely afford a guy like Jabril Peppers under the cap. So it's not all sunshines and rainbows, okay? There is some real concerns about Jabril Peppers as a player and, sadly, as a person. There was some domestic violence concerns. Now, he was acquitted, okay, so it wasn't like he was convicted, but Mark Davis has had a stance of not even touching players who were even accused of domestic violence. It's not great, okay, but you take a look at this situation, and if a guy's acquitted, which means he went to court and everything, and he was acquitted, so it wasn't like the accuser was paid off and stuff like that, and the case just went away. No, he was accused, he went to court, and he was acquitted of it. So it's a touchy situation. I am a firm believer that we should believe women, and we should, at the same time, get all the facts of what's happening in cases like this. To look at it from a neutral perspective, Jabril Peppers went to court and he was acquitted of all charges, which means in the eyes of the law that we're looking at it as the fact that he didn't do it. Now, people might say, well, it wasn't that he didn't do it, it's that they didn't prove that he did it. Well, now you're assuming that he did it instead of assuming that he didn't. All we can do is look at the facts. He went to court, and people that are paid a lot of money tried to get him convicted of this, and he was acquitted of it. So it's just a tough situation, okay? But this is a big sticking point when it comes to Mark Davis specifically. So this is a big hurdle to overcome. It's going to take a lot of conversation for this to even reach the point where they're even negotiating a contract. Also with Jabril Peppers, there is a little bit of an injury history. Now, at the end of 2021, when he was with Patrick Graham, you know, Jabril Peppers actually tore his ACL. Now, that was quite a few years ago, but he also missed the last handful of games last season with a hamstring injury. So he's a guy that's, you know, hasn't been the healthiest. Now, those are two examples, and, you know, he is a little bit older for the secondary. He's 29 years old. That all plays into it. So if this actually can help the Raiders in a sense where, you know, let's get him at a lower cost, right? He's been released. He has these legal issues. He has some injury history, but it's not terrible. You know, it's that ACL was, you know, 4 years ago now. But it also, we don't necessarily need him for the entire season if Lonnie Johnson comes back a little less than mid-year. So you have an advantage for week 1, but also a guy that can do some good things for you until Lonnie Johnson comes back and maybe, you know, picks up where he left off. Another thing that's kind of on the maybe not side of this thing is Jabril Peppers is his stature. Look, people want to say that Jacorian Bennett was traded away because he was under 6 feet. I don't think that's necessarily it. I think that he wasn't playing really well for what they were asking him to do. I think as a backup corner or a guy that can, you know, play more in a dime, stuff like that, he can be really good for the Eagles. But he's not going to start for the Eagles. He was pushing for starting time with the Raiders, and he was a third stringer after a while, and he just was getting passed up by a bunch of guys that can do a lot more physically than Jacorian Bennett was doing in practice. Now, could that change with the Eagles? Maybe, maybe not, but he wasn't doing it in practice with us. Look, cut to Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers, same size. He's about 5'11", you know, about 200, 195, 200 pounds, something like that. So he's a little bit smaller in the safety room specifically because Jeremy Chinn's like, what, 6'4". McCullough, they just picked up, is 6'3". Polamalu 6'2". Peppers at 5'11", his frame doesn't really fit the preferred size of what Pete Carroll wants. To quote Bill Parcells, I want my guys to be this big, this strong, this fast, jump this high at this certain position. If you don't bring me that, he better walk on water. I'm not saying that Jabril Peppers can walk on water, but I am saying that Jabril Peppers is much more productive than any of the safeties that we have on this roster, for sure. Now, the fans out there, Raider Nation, man, a lot of us are really pumped about the possibility of this happening. Not only because it kind of helps us out in week 1, but the fact that, you know, he's a pretty decent player. And when healthy and when motivated, he's a guy that can really be an asset to a defense because of his play, his production. He's a dynamic player. And his versatility. One thing too, there's some issues about maybe he's got some substance issues. That hasn't been substantiated by anybody. There's some rumors out there. So I'm just throwing that out there just because it's what I've heard, okay? If you want to take a guy like this, you need a guy and head coach like a Pete Carroll. A guy that can wrap his arms around a guy and really bring him in and get him on the straight and narrow. You also have guys like Maxx Crosby who had some issues in the past with alcohol, and I don't know about substances, but definitely alcohol, who can really be a mentor to Jabril Peppers. Even though Peppers is a little bit older, Maxx Crosby still can help him out with his journey and kind of keeping him in line, almost like a pseudo sponsor in a way. Logically, Jabril Peppers is a fit for the Raiders and what they want, what they're looking for. Yeah, he's a little bit shorter than they want in that position, but his dynamic play really makes up for that. They have the cap space. They have the need in the secondary. I don't know why this is taking as long as it has, but I really do think it would be a good move should it happen. If the Raiders are willing to look past a little bit of his history and look towards his production and really feel confident in not only the locker room, but the culture that the team has built, I think Jabril Peppers can assimilate to what the Raiders are looking to do and be a positive addition to this defense. All right, guys, that's my time for today. Really appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's an excellent way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do. And it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel besides doing nothing, just watching the video. Now, I do appreciate you watching the video. And I also have the Shield Society. We talked about it before. I'm not going to belabor the point. I'm not some like used car salesman or something like that. All I'm saying is this. If you can do it, great. If you can't or you don't want to, that's fine too. It's $5 a month. You not only get the videos right away, but you get the watch party with me, a chance to be on the shows and stuff. Now, don't worry about being on the show. Nobody's going to see it. It's just for us members. I'm not going to release it to the public. So if you have any doubts about that, you can hop on, say whatever you want. And that's cool because it's just going to be the bros. It's just going to be us. All right. If you want to do it, great. If not, that's fine too. There's no pressure here, guys. I'm still going to give you these videos every single day. But I do want to ask you to do one thing. I need you to tell your friends, tell your haters, tell your mamas, tell everybody. Raiders versus the world is the greatest thing going to Raider Nation today. All right, guys. That's my time. Till next time, everybody. Peace. Hey, Raider Nation. Thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment. Make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.